Where were we? Come, little children, I'll take thee away here in my garden of shadows. Hi, everybody. I don't know why that Hocus Pocus song has been stuck in my head. Maybe because I'm so excited my family is coming tomorrow. Like, I can't believe my nieces and nephew are gonna be here. I'm so excited. And AB interrupted my little song because he's hosing he's hosing down the balcony right now, and water is getting like from underneath the door, so I had to go and put a little towel. Last stream until your families? Yeah. Yeah, we won't be streaming this weekend while they're here. But yeah, I'm so excited. I can't believe it. Okay. So, today, oh my god. Everything's just all out of sorts, but hi everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's so exciting as always seeing all the same names in chat. Um that's okay. Take your time, family. You guys are gonna have so much fun. I can barely wait, I swear. But yeah. Where was that? What I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, whatever. It's not important. These streams cure my mental illnesses. You know what, Derek? Me too. Me too. I was so lonely before I met you all you beautiful people. Yeah, so this video, I don't know much about it, but it's called The Voodoo Killer Chef, The Terrifying Tale of Annette. Could it be Annette and the J silent? Annette Lyles. So let's just get started. Is the audio okay, by the way? Voodoo sounds excited. Sounds exciting. I guess I don't know what this is gonna be about. What is that? Like either she does voodoo or she does cooking. Like what is this mix here? Ash, thank you so much for the gifted. Audio is great. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, let's just do it. This is the Voodoo Killer Chef. And the channel is Real Crime. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Real Crime. On the YouTube. Oh, my headphones. Okay. Poisoned food probably, but what does the voodoo have to do with it? Oh, because to do voodoo you need like some kind of DNA of the victim. Like a hair strand, or maybe I don't know, but it's just a way to get the get their DNA. It's gonna be my guess. Smucker sold out? Oh my god. Sorry, I'm doing an Instacart order. No, it's okay, thank you. There's no substitution for Crustables, right? Or Uncrustables? Ugh, bummer. Whatever. I know, not the Smuckers. I haven't even eaten those in so long. I just got it because my nieces like it, but I was like, that kind of sounds good right now. Do I think voodoo magic is real? I don't know a lot about it, so I don't want to just say no. Because I definitely believe in like in like spirits and the supernatural. I do. Whose birthday is it? Kevin? Kevin, happy birthday. I love your true crime stream so much because most of the time you pick stuff I've never heard about. Glad I got here in time tonight. Oh my gosh, thank you, Brianna. That's so sweet. It only affects you if you believe it, they say. That's also true. I mean, I've also heard that, but I don't know. I don't know. Ow, okay, Fika Paprika said, well, you did get warts fixed by an eggplant. So, I mean, you guys, I don't know what to say. That really cured my warts when nothing else would. So, it literally went away like so fast after she did that thing with the eggplant. And I wasn't supposed to tell anybody, and now I told everybody. So I always get scared. Are they gonna come back or something? I don't know, but let's just get into it. Yep, and then out the window. Wow, you guys remember all the details. Oh, Stacy, I sent you guys a package with shirts for the weekend. Oh my god, me and Evie meant to go to the P.O. box today. And oh god, we forgot. We'll go tomorrow morning. Thank you so much. Oh my god, I'm so excited to see. There are lots of Irish cures that are wild. I think my mom brought me to one when I was younger for third-degree burn. Whoa! Oh my God, Laura, you had third-degree burns before? You need me. Wish me luck on my new job. And I had a great first week, so I have you guys to thank. Oh my God, congrats, Ash. That's awesome to hear. They trusted me with the secret of the eggplants. They did. So I'm just worried that they'll come back, but hopefully not. But yeah, like even in my culture, there's like these non-traditional or non-scientific ways of like fixing things or curing things. And I don't know, I've seen my mom do some of it, and so I won't deny it. AB came back from hosing the porch. Do you want to come over here? You look so cute. Is my mom a wizard? No. But she knows a lot of stuff. Oh my God, I got my first asthma attack at 3 years old in Mexico. Oh my God, that's awful. I'm so sorry to hear. Just a little spin. Look at it, you guys. It's amazing. It's a backpack of wonder.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
And it's worked so good.
I love it. I was tired. Hi, guys.
Said AB, where are you going? Gator hunting? He is just hosing down some bugs and stuff on the porch. Eva, thank you so much for the subby. Jessa Slay. Lena, I don't mean to scare you if there's a strange man behind you. Yeah, he's power washing. That's what it is. He's power washing. Okay. The white light is too bright. I can fix that. I sure can. I guess in the meantime, let's start this. Well, let me fix this first. Sorry. See. Lena Streamlight. Oh, I love that AB so organized and labels everything. So let's just turn it down a smidge. Oh, but no, let's make it like so colorful. Like I'm sorry guys. Okay, maybe I'll do it like this. We'll make these ones pink. Okay, and then the other ones, we'll make these like green. No, I didn't want to do all, but how do you guys like green actually? That's kind of cool. It's still too bright though, huh? How about like that? Pink? Let's do pink and green. I mean, like this. There we go. I love it. What do you guys think? I think it works. Oh, okay. Oh my God, I'm missing so many chats. Sorry. Okay. We got first time chatter came in to say, oh my God, green. Yes. Okay, let's do it. Let's stick with the green. I got no notifications. Oh no. You know what though? Luckily we just started. Like literally just got started. Also, if you want to join the Discord, you can do so here and you'll get notifications for me and AB streams. I'm just gonna pin it at the top of chat. I hate how my camera does that. Like it adjusts to the white balance way too much. And so if I go like this, look, everything gets dark. Oh, it's okay. I need to just set like a custom white balance for this whenever I'm streaming, and I just haven't done that yet. Okay. I paused Pod Save America to show the true crime stream. Oh my God, Stacy, thank you. Tell AB to fix it. I think that's what's probably going to happen. Okay, so this is called The Voodoo Killer Chef, The Terrifying Tale of Anjat Lilos by Real Crime on YouTube. And maybe, I don't know what Poisonous Liaisons is. Maybe it's like a series. Okay.
Nobody should die that way.
I've never seen anything that horrific.
One of the duties of a pathologist is to determine the cause of death.
Watch on mobile devices. Download Veely now.
In 1958, the town of Macon, Georgia,
We got a new narrator.
changed forever when voluptuous, voodoo-loving restaurateur Anjet Lyles stood trial for murder.
Well, in this sleepy little southern town, you find out you've got a murderous demon. Somebody that could do this kind of thing.
Oh my god. Honestly, she doesn't look like a killer. I know her voice from Channel 4. Really? This narrator? I don't know, but I like her voice too.
One of 3 children of William and Jetta Donovan,
Did he call her voluptuous? Did he say that? Voluptuous?
Anjet was their only daughter.
Her maiden name was Donovan, and the Donovan family was generally well thought of. They were good people.
Anjet moved out of the family home in October 1947, when she married Second World War veteran Ben Lyles. A few weeks after setting up home in an apartment on Poplar Street, their first baby, Marcia, was born.
She gained a family, a complete family, because with Ben, his mother also came along as part of the deal. She had originally run, I believe, the restaurant where Ann
Yeah, no snacks, Lena. I see a lot of you asking about snacks. Let me grab some.
eventually took over.
The restaurant was Lyles. Operated by Ben's widowed mother Julia, but technically owned by Ben, the establishment was a local institution.
It was a popular lunch place for the professionals in town. It was just kind of a gathering place for everybody that worked downtown.
When Ben was left in charge of running Lyles after his mother was convalescing from surgery, the business nearly ground to a halt. Ben was an alcoholic. When he returned home late one night,
I got Cheez-Its snack mix and Sour Patch Kids watermelon. Well, they got a restaurant. The killer's husband took over the restaurant, and apparently he's a bad business guy. Oh no, sorry. Okay, he suffers from a disease. He's an alcoholic apparently. So the business was no longer booming.
it was clear he was not in a fit state to work, let alone manage the place. So Anjet wrapped up baby Marcia, scuttled down the street,
Scuttled. Voluptuous and scuttled.
and opened up.
She's fallen in love with the process of running and managing a restaurant, making friends with the general public.
In May 1951, Anjet and Ben welcomed the arrival of their second daughter, Carla. In the space of a couple of months, Ben crashed the family car and sold the family restaurant of 30
Aww.
years for a paltry
She's gonna kill Ben. She's gonna kill Ben.
$2,500. Anjet was in
He
and
sold the
hold
business?
the family restaurant of 30 years for a paltry $2,500. Anjet was incensed.
This is essentially her identity now. And now
drove her to
business is
madness.
going to be sold. The ability to bring in income into the family is going to be greatly diminished,
Rick, thank you for the subby. Yes, 5 months. Thank you.
and therefore she's going to be diminished.
Angered by his actions and resentful of their diminishing resources, Anjet's solution was merciless,
Kills him.
and her weapon crippling.
She used taro ant poison that you could buy at the hardware store, readily.
Oh, Taro is an ant killer, apparently. I'm like, how did she just get that at a hardware store? This is like a Stephen King novel. Oh my god, it really is.
Available to buy. She would have had to have done some research to know about arsenic poisoning.
In and of itself, arsenic is odorless, it's tasteless. It seems, on the surface, very, very benign when you see it. And what made it an effective ant killer was the fact that they would take the substance of arsenic and combine it with sugar water. So it's not going to be an unpleasant taste. It's not going to have a metallic taste to it. It's just going to be sweet.
The cunning, premeditated, well-planned, calculated evil of hers. You give a small dose of arsenic over a period of time, it will attack the weakest organ in your body, whatever that may be, and it affects everybody differently.
Oh my God, that is so scary. So it's not even like an immediate thing. She's just slowly going to poison her victim. Are you okay? Okay.
Ben's health took a disconcerting turn. He suddenly had chronic nosebleeds.
What's going on with his system is that literally his venous system is beginning to shut down. Think about how easy it is to get a bloody nose. As these vessels begin to collapse as a result of these cellular changes, blood will begin to leach out. So he would have chronic nosebleeds.
On January the 23rd, 1952, his condition
Oh my God, this takes place in the 50s. This is some old school stuff. Oh man, this is creepy AF. I can't watch this right before bed. I'll have two on the East Coast. Shout out, Lena. Oh, no problem. Have a good night. Thank you for hanging out. I understand. We haven't seen much yet, but they are setting up this lady to be really scary. Wheezy Bones, welcome.
violently deteriorated. He was admitted to Macon Hospital.
His extremities were swollen. The feet, the hands, even his arms, very tense to the touch. Many times you'll see this. This is an indication that Ben's lymphatic system had shut down, and also his renal system was shut down. So those systems that are tasked with processing waste in the body essentially are being shut down. So all of the stuff that's contained in the body that in and of itself is toxic is being retained within him. So he can't process urine, his lymph system can't do what it's supposed to do, and it's going to begin to swell.
Let's see. Thank you.
2 days
For the
later,
subby. I
on
appreciate you too.
January the 25th, Ben Lyles was dead. The official cause
It took 10
was
days.
encephalitis.
Ben's death would have been absolutely horrific. I don't know that there's any scale that we could actually measure it by in human pain and suffering.
Oh my goodness.
Horrible gastrointestinal pains. I would imagine for Ben, it seems like it really impacted his neurological system. I can only imagine the
Oh my
pounding headaches that he
goodness.
had. Horrible, horrible way to die.
By the
Oh my
time she was
God.
26 years old, Anjet had chosen to be a widow, but an impoverished one. To save money, she moved back in with her parents, who had since down.
So do you guys think she killed her husband just out of spite because he let go of sold the family business for so little money and his alcoholism and just wasn't taking care of them? But Jesus, just leave.
downsized to a bungalow on Vineville Avenue. Her lonely mother-in-law, Julia, was a frequent visitor. The three adoring grandparents ensured toddler Marcia and baby Carla were always cared for when Anjet went to work. 3 years later, Anjet, with the help of a $12,000 bank loan, bought back the same restaurant.
Huh? Which one? Just get me whatever. Thank you. Oh, sorry, let me just reply to my...
Ben had sold. On April 4th, 1955, it opened and was renamed Anjet's.
She's running this restaurant in downtown Macon, about a half a block from the courthouse, and yet had sort of a big personality, and people
Oh, yeah.
like to go
I'll turn up my mic a little bit. I think it's just 'cause I had the mic turned away because I was chewing, but I'll speak louder also.
there and interact with her. It's kind of a social thing to do, to go to.
A girl boss? Yeah, I was gonna say, that's kind of amazing that she was able to do that. I mean, forget the part about what she did to her husband, but and not having any money and then being able to work as a single mom and then open a restaurant.
Anjet's restaurant, and it was very popular, and so
And
she
it
was
was
pretty well
poppin'.
known in the community.
Among the customers were airline pilots and a future husband for Anjet.
Macon was kind of
Oh,
a hub.
no.
The
Oh,
airport
no.
was a regular landing spot for major airlines. Anjet actually met Buddy. He was a pilot for one of the airlines, and he would come by on his stopover, and he would have lunch at Anjet's diner.
26-year-old Texan Buddy was born Joe Neil Gabbert, and he was smitten.
Buddy was taking a
Smitten.
spell of Anjet. Buddy apparently had stated to Ann, I'm going to marry you, and that's early on.
After less than a few months of dating, they surprised their families and friends when they became husband and wife on June 24th, 1955.
You guys think she's gonna kill him? Voluptuous lady has a business, husband dies poison. Oh my god, yes. Excuse me, sir. I'm okay. That was a great summary so far. For anyone who's new to this or just coming in, we just have a woman. She killed her husband, and now she's a single mom raising her 2 young daughters, and she just opened up her well, she reopened the restaurant that her husband got closed down, or that he sold for like $2,000. He lost the restaurant, she got it back. Yes, or as Hypersub put it, a single mom who works 2 jobs, who loves her kids and never stops. So do you guys think she's gonna kill this next husband? Because it sounds like true love, how they're explaining it. Maybe she's gonna marry him just to get some of his money and then kill him. A voluptuous woman. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, it was a voluptuous woman. That's an
4
important
months
detail.
later, Buddy was due to have minor surgery on an injured wrist, but it would end up being an
brought back out the
appointment
arsenic.
with arsenic.
Arsenic.
With an eye on his life insurance, Anjet was plotting Buddy's demise. On November 3rd, Buddy entered hospital for the routine procedure and was kept in overnight.
Oh no.
Anjet visited and spiked
She's a
his
monster.
fluids with ant poison.
Yeah, she went super old school.
The next morning, an aggressive rash had plagued Buddy's body.
His bed and the sheets would be soaked with blood that was issuing forth from his body. With exposure to certain toxins, this will actually begin to present at
Hi,
a cellular
Solomore,
level
thank you.
of skin, where it's a reaction by our system, our autoimmune system, to thwart these manifestations of toxicity in our body. But over a period of time, it got so bad at one point in time that when Buddy was being treated, he asked the nurses to actually tie his hands to the bedpost so he wouldn't scratch himself anymore.
People will die different ways according to the way the arsenic attacks their body. And she had to know that this was, for what she wanted to do, an effective way to do it. And then
Yeah, that's why I feel like maybe she was evil. Like, even before she killed her husband, she was like inherently evil. Or that's like what she was. She knew that's what she would become, because how do you just know these things? Like a regular housewife in the 50s know about these chemicals and what they can do to you. These like everyday products that you use.
indeed, it was all too effective. I mean, it was readily available. She knew what to do with it.
She's a girl boss.
On November 13th, 1955,
She's a voluptuous girl boss.
after 10 days in hospital, doctors sent him home to continue his recovery.
They might look at him to begin with and think that, well, he's ingested some kind of food that didn't agree with him.
But within days, Buddy became nauseous and dehydrated. Anjet was lacing juice and cola with arsenic.
Can you imagine how frustrating this would be to
I
a
can't.
practitioner? You're standing over this patient who is screaming out in mortal pain. They're convulsing, and there's nothing that you can do in order to relieve it, particularly if you're not fully aware of what's killing this individual, and the patient is literally dying before their eyes.
Less than a month later, Buddy Gabbert was dead.
the community, their hearts are just going out to this poor woman who's now twice widowed. She's got 2 small children. She's having to support her mother-in-law from a previous marriage.
Daughters Marcia and Carla adapted to life without a father figure.
The kids often come to the restaurant and play among the tables and the chairs, and the staff all knew the little girls. And the mother-in-law had been there for years and years. Even after the transition had taken place, this was the life that the mother-in-law had known. So she would even be there in the afternoon. So she would tend to these children while Anjette ran the restaurant.
But 18 months after losing their stepfather, the 2 little girls would be caring for their grandmother, Julia, who was the next to become distressingly ill. Julia was admitted to Parkview Hospital.
Why? Why would she do that? Like, okay, this lady's watching. I mean, she serves some purpose to her. She watches her kids while she's at work. Oh my God, that is so awful.
With Anjette apparently tending to her.
This kind of made her to be saintly, I guess. Look at her. She's taking care of these people she loves so much. That makes us defenseless at the end. And that allows her to get closer and closer to these individuals.
Also, I wonder where the when the voodoo comes in.
Day after day, she's plying them with this highly, highly toxic substance.
Before leaving work for the hospital, kitchen staff noticed Anjette's peculiar preparations.
They saw Anjette prepare buttermilk that she was taking to her mother-in-law that had the arsenic in it.
On September 29th, 1957, Anjette had claimed Julia's life as well.
There was really no suspicion of any foul play. It was just poor old Anjette, losing, family members.
Oh my God, Eva, that is so crazy that you said that. Nobody thought it was a bit odd that people were dropping like flies around her? Literally, as he's just talking about that now, no one thought it was suspicious.
And that can happen in the absence of any misconduct.
But then, 9-year-old Marcia became sick.
Well, she came to...
No. Oh my God. Oh my God, okay. Seriously, like all jokes aside, what the hell is going on? What is wrong with this lady? Oh my God, her poor kids. It's like, how sad. Like, that's the kind of life you gave them. You killed their father, you killed their stepdad, you killed their grandma, and then you killed him.
hate her daughter because of some evidence she would look at Marcia and she looked too much like her father, Anjette's first husband, Ben, first one that she murdered. And she would be very abusive towards Marcia, even before she started poisoning her. It's a tragic situation.
She's got a non-productive cough, which is an indication that she's having respiratory difficulty early on. She's also presenting with this kind of non-specific fever. She's not producing any kind of sweating or anything like this. It's a dry fever, if you will. So to touch her forehead, she would feel like she had a fever, possibly even not just hot, but warm to the touch. You can imagine how uncomfortable this is. And again, this goes to this idea that the brain itself is beginning to shut down.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
with that, her body temperature can't be regulated as it normally would.
Marcia was transferred to the increasingly familiar Parkview Hospital. But Anjette was predicting Marcia's demise to her shocked restaurant staff.
In many of these cases, the people that were in the hospital never even ate hospital food, for instance. Anjette would bring the food.
Have I seen Flowers in the Attic? Similar story, but fictional? No, I've heard of it though.
From the restaurant.
The black ladies that cooked, or the cooks at the restaurant, they knew something was going on. Marcia got sick, was in the hospital, and they knew what was happening. That is, that Anjette was poisoning her daughter, Marcia, by taking lemonade from the restaurant that she would then put the poison in
Oh my
and take it to the
God.
hospital, in that fashion administer the small doses of arsenic poisoning.
Oh my God. So that excruciating pain they were talking about earlier, this girl is about to suffer that.
She's beginning to manifest again with hallucinations. She's even alluded to the fact that she feels as though that bugs are crawling on her. This is a
That's what happened to my niece. Oh my God, you guys. One time my niece was sleeping over and she was sleeping in my parents' room, and she was so young. She was like 3 or 4. And I was like up all night studying. So, and like I had just like gone to bed. And then all of a sudden I hear screaming, and I knew it was her, and I jumped out of bed and I ran downstairs because my room was in the attic. And like by the time I got to the bottom of the stairs, like I was so dizzy and like lightheaded, like I had to just stop for a second and collect myself. And then I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? And like my parents were like holding her, and she was like freaking out, and she was saying, get the eggplant. No. This is a different kind of story. And yeah, she was like freaking out. She kept saying there's bugs on the bed, and she doesn't want to go back in the room. And she was like so genuinely terrified. And my mom like took off all the sheets and everything to show her. And she's like, there's no, what are you talking about? There's no spiders, there's no bugs. And then it got worse. She started like, she wanted her clothes off. She's like, she kept thinking that bugs are crawling on her. And we were so scared, like we didn't know what to do. She was just like just so terrified. And so my mom called her sister. I shouldn't be laughing because it worked. My mom called her sister, and she came like right away, and she like read Quran on her. And I don't know, it was just like she was kind of like rubbing her head and like saying Quran and then like blowing on her. And I don't know, you guys, whatever it was, like my niece just took a nap after, and then she woke up and everything was fine. It's amazing because honestly, like nothing else was working. Like she was just sitting in her underwear and like going like she was just so like out of it, and she felt like like bugs were on her. Poor thing, W vibes. Yeah, no, I never saw her like that before, and it was so scary. But I don't know, so I don't know what that was that my aunt did, or I guess she just read Quran, but it worked. Yeah, we're guessing she had like a really bad nightmare or something, but like it wouldn't pass. Her paranoia of the bugs or spiders, like she kept thinking they're on her.
child that has not previously presented with any kind of psychiatric problems whatsoever, no hallucinations, this sort of thing, just all of a sudden this begins to present. Now you've also got physical changes that are occurring. Her limbs are beginning to swell. Again, the lymphatic system is shutting down.
Even in the hospital, as she's already become ill, watching her daughter go through hallucinations and great pain, she continued to give her daughter.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I thought you fell asleep. Okay.
Poison.
The housekeeper, Carmen, happened upon a bottle of what's called Taro Ant Killer. She's thinking, I wonder what in the world she's using.
Busted!
Staff at home and at the restaurant were the first to make sense of what their employer was doing to her own family.
The housekeeper, the maid, the cooks at the restaurant, like family. I mean,
Be right back. I just want to grab my order.
Marcia and Carla, well, from in the home and then at the restaurant.
But the racial segregation laws that pervaded the state of Georgia in the 1950s were protecting a serial killer.
I can only imagine it had to be very hard for them not to have wanted to do something sooner, go to the sheriff. And the norms of the culture were, if you do that, bad things could happen to you.
Despite the risks, they sent anonymous messages to the coroner and family members in nearby Cochran.
They saw what was happening and tried to speak up, and they took it upon themselves to write a letter to family members in Cochran, Georgia, that said, "Come quick, Marcia needs help." They did raise the red flag by the anonymous letter to family who responded and alerted the authorities in Bibb County.
By the time Marsha's family received the letter and alerted the Bibb County Sheriff, doctors had begun to suspect Anjet's daughter had been poisoned. But Marsha was now struggling for every breath. On the 5th of April 1958, 3 months shy of her 10th birthday, she passed away.
So she suffered for 3 months?
We're talking about a
Oh no, 3 months shy of her birthday.
9-year-old. A 9-year-old, perfectly healthy girl that went to school, interacted with people. She would come to the restaurant almost daily and interact with the staff. People saw her running about in there. How in the world does she just suddenly succumb? How in the world does she just suddenly die?
It was a question on everyone's mind. Tissue samples of Marsha's, sent for testing, confirmed the suspicion of arsenic poisoning. Police obtained a search warrant for Anjet's house, where they found ant poison and voodoo paraphernalia.
What? This is where the voodoo comes in? We don't know what she used it for.
Anjet was into voodoo and had black candles and a sock that supposedly she'd put a picture of someone in, some kind of curse or something, and had all these potions and things that they found in her house. It was part of what attracted so much attention to the case, that this woman, pretty well known in our community, was practicing voodoo in her home out there in Northwoods.
On Tuesday, the 6th of May, Anjet Lyles was arrested on 4 counts of murder.
You can only imagine the horror of Carla felt when her sister died, the death that she died.
Aw,
and
yeah,
shortly
that
thereafter, her mother is arrested
This other little girl now, she lost literally everyone.
for that murder, and then the investigation quickly reveals that she had also murdered Carla's father, a stepfather, her grandmother, and then her sister. It's hard to imagine what she went through.
Following the exhumation of Anjet's husbands, it turned out that they had been exposed to arsenic as well, which leads them to believe that she had been doing this for some time. Let's keep in mind, her count was 4 people. 4 people that she had in her immediate circle, that she could ply them with this poison day after day after day with the food she had prepared for them.
This case had a huge impact on our community. I've talked to people over the years that had a child that was a friend of the Lyles daughters, Marsha and Carla, that had some that ate at the restaurant. I mean, afterwards, everybody was wondering, has she tried to poison me too? There was a lot of fear.
Oh my God, yeah. The community probably panicked because they described this restaurant. It was like always popping.
In the community.
And they said it popped off. I'm not just saying popping. I don't use that word, just so you know.
That she had maybe tried to poison other people.
William West was the Bibb County Solicitor General.
As it turned out, Mr. West had a conflict by a distant relationship to Anjet that caused him to disqualify himself and turn the matter over to the Attorney General of the state, who then appointed my father, Charles Adams, and Hank O'Neill, who had also been a prosecutor, to be special prosecutors in the case of the state versus Anjet Lyles. For my father and Mr. O'Neill, his law partner, I mean, it was a huge case.
Bill Adams' father Charles and Hank set to work gathering evidence against Anjet. On Monday, October the 6th, 1958, 32-year-old Anjet Lyles was called to trial.
One of the obvious questions is why? Why would this woman...
Why is she going to court looking all a diva and stuff? Who does she think she is? Hi, first time chatter.
murder 4 members of her family, and what they came up with was money, life insurance proceeds, and
There, that's what it is. I see a lot of you talking about it in chat, like what was the motive, and a lot of you think there is none, but I guess there was money.
Anjet had gotten close to $50,000 in life insurance proceeds, as a result of the deaths of her family
And we're
members.
talking about $50,000 in 1950, which I don't know how much that is, but it's a lot more.
And the investigation and later then the prosecution was able to present examples of Anjette forging signatures on documents. They presented 51 witnesses to the jury. The cooks that saw her preparing the lemonade.
Whoa, what's going on? So many first-time chatters coming in. Thank you, guys. That was my thought, too. Why is she looking like she's on a red carpet? I know, like, lady, you're on trial for murder. And another first-time chatter, Lizard, thank you. They came in to say 634K. That's, whoa! $50,000 in 1950 was $634,000? That is a huge conversion. Whoa. Oh my God, so she probably made, she killed her first husband and then the next husband too. No wonder she killed him right after, like, not that long after they got married.
In buttermilk. That had
Yes,
that-
but welcome all first-time chatters. The chat is also telling you guys welcome. Don't be shy. You don't have to lurk. You can chat with us.
arsenic in it. And so Anjette was a little careless at times. She ordered the coffin for her daughter before her daughter died.
The prosecutors even found insurance documents and bank statements establishing a motive for the murders.
This is what drove Anjette to murder her family members, essentially. Her first husband, her second husband, her mother-in-law.
Little
And her
Flora,
daughter.
welcome.
She took their lives over money.
Okay, but how about her daughter? How about her daughter? Does she get life insurance from her daughter? Oh, I don't know. This is just so awful. Why would she do that to her daughter?
Well, that woman is crazy, right? I mean, she must be insane.
She's crazy.
And yet the insanity defense was really not raised at
From
trial.
Pete, what are you talking about, Hypercept?
Well, I mean, from a prosecution standpoint, that this invites this insanity angle, and as far as they were concerned, Anjette was not insane; she was just evil.
I'm on the front page of Twitch right now. You mean, I think because you follow me, it comes up as like one of the channels.
The prosecution sought the
Yeah, I don't know. What does that mean, front page of Twitch? You mean just because, like, when you go, right? It's just because you follow me. Sorry, guys, I need to see this. Wall Street, thank you so much for 5 gifted subbies. Sorry, guys, I need to see this. Wall Street, thank you so I hate hearing my voice. Hypercept said I'll test. Okay. Let's see. Whoops. So I just went to like the Twitch main page, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, it shows live channels we think you'll like. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. Anywho's. Yeah, I just went to check and you're not there. They probably saw the recommended. Yeah, no worries. So one day, you guys, one day it's gonna happen. Where were we? The voodoo killer. Lena, you're on the front page of Kick. Oh my God, really?
death penalty. On Monday, October 13th, the
Thank you,
courtroom
Katie. Thank you.
awaited the jury's verdict.
I think the jury was only out about an hour and a half. The jury found the way they did, she was subject to the death penalty, and in fact, the death penalty was imposed.
That's okay, Hypercept. You guys, I wasn't an actual newspaper though, not the front page. Well, AB was the front page, but I was in the cover story at least. It was on like the second or third page. They showed a picture of me and AB.
By the trial judge, and set a date for Anjette to be executed, put to death by electrocution.
AB? AB? You guys hear that?
And Georgia
so weird. I thought it was
had
behind me.
never executed.
We love a third page queen. Thank you
a white
guys.
woman.
After a failed appeal, Anjette's fate looked sealed, but there was one last avenue.
Lena, you're on the front page of Jeep Monthly? Oh my God. Maybe after I finish my my sponsorship. You guys don't know. We don't know what's going to become of that, but it's going to be good. You wait and
Defense
see.
lawyers asked the governor to appoint a sanity commission who then examined Anjette, examined the records, and concluded that she was, quote, insane.
No.
With that finding by the psychiatrist, the governor then signed an
You don't tell me this lady's going to get away with it.
executive order that did not commute Anjette's death sentence, but basically put
Was it the scare cannon? Yeah, so my my scare cannon is broken, you guys. I don't know what happened to it, but it's broken. And it's so sad.
on hold that as long as she is considered insane, she cannot be executed under Georgia law. My dad and Mr. O'Neill, the two special prosecutors, they were very upset about that.
Anjette Lyles
scare
avoided
cannon
the
scared
electric
itself.
chair, but was dispatched to the Central State Hospital in Milledgeville.
There was a women's facility there, but there was also the facility that was set aside for the criminally insane.
She never was found to be sane and served out her sentence at the Central State Hospital, the mental hospital.
Oh my god, and we're only halfway through the story. I think what this is leading up to is that she serves her time in the mental hospital, they clear her, and she's back on the streets and she starts killing again. Maybe, oh my god, do you think she's gonna go for her other daughter?
And was there until she died in somewhere in the 1970s.
While the crimes of Anjette Lyles haunted the community of Macon, no one was more affected than her surviving daughter, Carla.
I don't know where she went other than she did everything she could do, I'm sure with the family's help, to get as far away from this town.
Chelsea said, you know what, I just realized these streams are going to be so good during spooky season, aka Halloween. You have to do some sort of special. Oh my god, you're right. We should. I'll have to think on that.
In this sad story, if she could.
Grego, that's a good idea.
You could tell just by looking at his body that he died an extremely painful death.
Just imagine, if you will, that you are literally drowning, that you're
Ooh, ghost stories stream? That sounds interesting too. Like actual ghost stories though?
strangulated
I like
for
it.
air.
On the night of October 5th, 1986, 44-year-old Stephen James Litgarn was pronounced dead at his Cheatham County home in Tennessee. Litgarn's brother-in-law, John Stewart Cox, then 31, was rushed
Beanie Stealer, hi! Oh my god, we're in the 80s now and she's still killing.
unconscious to Baptist Hospital. He
Right?
died of respiratory failure on October the 8th, never having regained consciousness.
He fought for several hours.
Hold the phone. Is this the daughter's husband? Yep, this is the voodoo chef killer story right now. I think this is her daughter's husband.
But his organs.
Yeah, I'll
shut
go
down.
back.
Stewart Cox, 4-year-old
Are literally drowning.
Extremely painful.
Right, we're talking about the daughter.
You could tell just by looking at his body that he died an extremely.
Sorry. Okay. I go back more.
You could tell just by looking at his body that he died an extremely painful death.
Ooh.
Just imagine, if you will, that you are literally drowning, that you're strangulated for air.
On the night of October 5th, 1986, 44-year-old Stephen James Litgarn was pronounced dead at his Cheatham County home in Tennessee. Litgarn's brother-in-law, John Stewart Cox, then 31, was rushed unconscious to Baptist Hospital. He died of respiratory failure on October the 8th, never
No, I don't think it's another story.
having regained consciousness.
He fought for several hours, but his organs shut down, as well as there was no brain activity, so we knew he was going to be the second victim.
Both men had ingested cyanide. They had suffocated from the inside out.
Cyanide poisoning attacks specifically
Look, it's the same people talking.
the
about
respiratory system.
from the previous
It
case.
goes immediately into the system and begins to compromise the lungs' ability to process oxygen. Even our cells require oxygen. Imagine the brain, the heart, the lungs,
The
these sorts of
Tylenol
things
murders?
that
No, I
require
have
an
not.
uptake of oxygen constantly to function appropriately. But this interferes with the cell's ability to process.
You guys all
it.
think it's a different story.
Litgarn and Cox had both fallen ill at a family gathering.
I was covered, and there was another serious injury involved. Me alive.
That victim who was deceased.
Litgarn and her sister, Sherry, eaten dinner that night with their wives, Linda Litgarn and her sister, Sherry Cox.
Okay, it's a different story. Whoops, did not mean to do the difference. Wow, so that was the case of Ann Jett. What an awful lady. Going to the Discord. The Tylenol murders are wild? What? I never even heard of that. So someone basically like Ann Jett, and they poison people, but instead of arsenic, they use Tylenol? Let's put this in the Discord. Hassan has a Lena moment.
Don't show.
What is a Lena moment?
Don't show them. You can jump. I lost my magic marker. You can jump. God damn it, dude.
That is a Lena moment, I have to admit. The simplest, most non-scary stuff always startled me. But oh my god, Kaya's so cute. I would have been scared too, Paige. Okay, what else do we have here? Huh? Oh, he was talking to me. Okay. Are you talking to me? What? Oh, okay, okay. Let's see. Paintings by serial killers? What? Oh my god, you guys. By the way, I looked more into oh my god, I'm curious about the Tylenol thing too. You know, let me look it up. I just don't know how long that video is. If I can find like a quick story on it. But I looked more into what's her face, Dorothea, the serial killer, who has a cookbook, and apparently the money from the book does go to victims' families. How they do that, I don't know. But I bought the book, and it comes tomorrow. I'm just curious for educational purposes. Like, how did that happen? How did they let a convicted serial killer publish a book while she's in prison? Okay, Tylenol murder. Yeah, the families have the royalties. Poison pills, the Tylenol murders that terrified America? What? Oh my God, you're saying you can buy Tylenol from the store and it'll be not Tylenol? Wait, let me find something. I guess this one would be good. Okay, first let's see paintings by serial killers, and we'll watch that one after.
A member of the Bali Nine has lost his final appeal against the death penalty.
With no remorse or cooperation to offer, Sukumaran could only wait for the word mati, Indonesian for death.
Andrew Chan and Myron Sukumaran are changed men.
Sukumaran was the raging bull, now he's more the gentle giant, escaping into the prison art studio, painting as often as he can.
I'm trying to do something positive with my life.
How their art reflects their sick minds. Tonight, we journey into the kinda terrifying but very intriguing world of killer art. Oh, and we will talk about prison art in general too.
It's a whole
Let's
subject.
Start. Called Art for Redemption by the Marshall Project, and they sell a lot of it. It's on death row. Windows first, though the site has a very peculiar format. First you see the art, then a little excerpt from the inmate who drew it, and at the bottom, the crime they committed. This creates an almost comedic contrast between the artist and their past. Look, a nice painting by Kevin Cooper. I wonder what he wrote. My piece, Free Me, is a message to my attorney. A reminder to him. Free me. I do believe I'm going to be free. Aw, what did this guy even do? In February 1985, Kevin Cooper was convicted of 4 counts of first-degree murder, a couple and 2 kids, and 1 count of attempted murder on an 8-year-old.
Oh my God, I was gonna say that painting actually looked like pretty good.
Out of the it is the art form.
Oh my
I really
God.
like this one. Are you going to the yard? Yes, but it's raining. Really? My life is too. Some have even started to make characters for these comics. George Lopez has created Emil and Ernie, a dog and a rat, both
What does George
know,
Lopez
sit,
have to do with
and
it?
can't wait. Question for at least one of them to be telling the truth and for that person to eventually get exonerated. Hell, it is so not that out of the question that it actually happens.
Do me and Abby have a road trip planned for this weekend? No, because my family's gonna be here. So we actually won't be streaming this weekend. But after that, maybe. Okay. Now let's see the Tylenol murders that terrified America.
In
I saw a lot of you guys were saying that this is the reason why there's like a tamper-proof sealing on like Tylenol or just like any over-the-counter drug packaging.
In 1982, a series of events in and around Chicago transformed consumer safety. On the morning of September 29, 12-year-old Mary Kellerman told her parents she wasn't feeling well, so they gave her an extra-strength Tylenol capsule. Immediately after, Mary collapsed. She was dead by 10 a.m. That same day, postal worker Adam Yanis came down with a cold. He purchased some extra-strength Tylenol at a supermarket. He took 2 capsules and immediately went into convulsions. He later died in hospital. Doctors suspected that the 27-year-old had a heart attack. After grieving at the hospital, Adam's family came together at his home to comfort his wife and 2 small
Guys,
children.
I will be right back.
His brother Stanley was so grief-stricken, he came down with a headache. He grabbed some Tylenol from the same bottle Adam had purchased earlier that day. He offered some to his newly wedded wife, Teresa. They took 2 capsules each. Soon after, they collapsed. Stanley died that day. Teresa held on for 2 more days before passing away. The unusual deaths caught the attention of firefighters from the affected suburbs of Chicago. Firefighter Richard Keyworth said, "This is a wild stab, but maybe it's Tylenol." Another firefighter who had the same suspicions reached out to a nurse from the local community. Nurse Helen Jensen spoke to Adam Yanis' widow and realized all 3 family members had taken Tylenol. She thought, it has to be the Tylenol. But she said the medical examiner and police didn't believe her and even laughed it off. In another suburb of Chicago, Mary Reiner was feeling woozy. She had given birth to her 4th child 2 days earlier. The hospital gave her some Tylenol to help with her postpartum recovery, and she also purchased some from a store. Immediately after taking 2 capsules, she felt dizzy and collapsed. Mary died the following day at the same hospital where she had just given birth. Another Mary, Mary McFarland, was taking a dinner break in the shopping center where she worked. The 31-year-old single mom had a migraine. She took 2 Tylenol capsules and minutes later collapsed. She never regained consciousness. That evening, flight attendant Paula Prince landed at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport after a long day. She stopped at a Walgreens on her way home. An ATM surveillance camera captured the 35-year-old purchasing the pills that would kill her. When she failed to show up for work, her sister and a colleague went to her apartment and found her lifeless body. All 7 people died after taking Tylenol. When an investigator with the medical examiner's office first examined the Tylenol bottle from Mary Kellerman's house and the other from the Giannis's, they smelled like bitter almonds. The examiner knew instantly what he was dealing with. The odor was cyanide. He was lucky to catch a whiff of cyanide because only about 60% of the population can detect the bitter almond scent. Out of the 44 remaining capsules in the Giannis's bottle, 4 were found to contain cyanide. Each capsule had between 550 to 610 milligrams of potassium cyanide, nearly 3 times the amount needed to kill someone. Their blood samples tested positive for cyanide poisoning. A Dodged reporter named John Flynn Rooney received a tip and broke the story of the poisonings before an official news conference was called. Stores began pulling pain relievers off the shelves. Chicago police drove through the streets using loudspeakers to order people to flush Tylenol down the toilet. These actions likely saved more lives, as no further deaths occurred. Finding the person responsible, however, would not happen so quickly. The corporation that owned Tylenol, Johnson & Johnson, did not think this was the work of an employee. It believed the capsules were laced with cyanide after leaving the factories, because the poison capsules came from multiple manufacturing plants. Investigators believed someone must have taken the bottles off store shelves, pulled the 2 casings apart, laced them with poison, and then reattached the halves before returning them to the store. The capsule on the left is regular Tylenol. The capsule on the right contains cyanide. The powder is off-white and grayish in color and lumpier.
Store management pulled all the Tylenol off the shelves on Thursday.
The poisonings were the biggest story in the country.
Operating Control Center. We've been receiving calls about once every 15 seconds.
Tylenol was the most popular pain reliever in America.
Extra strength Tylenol, aspirin-free, and you can't buy a more potent pain reliever without a prescription.
Tylenol controlled 37% of the over-the-counter pain reliever market and accounted for $400 million in sales the year before. After the deaths, Tylenol's market share plummeted to 7%. Johnson & Johnson recalled all 31 million bottles of Tylenol capsules. More tainted capsules were found. Fortunately, they had not been sold or consumed. The poisonings changed how over-the-counter drugs were packaged. At the time, there was no protective sealing on any over-the-counter drug bottles. Johnson & Johnson worked with the FDA to include safety seals, which became the norm for packaged food as well. The company also introduced a new version of its pill, the caplet, which was harder to tamper with than the older capsules. A few years later, Tylenol stopped selling its capsule version for good. Johnson & Johnson spent $100 million on the recall and relaunch of Tylenol, and it was worth it. Within a year, Tylenol sales bounced back and once again became America's favorite over-the-counter pain reliever. But for the families of the victims, there was no relief from their pain. Police had not caught the person responsible for.
You guys, I'm so sorry. I just printed back here.
In 1982,
I thought it was going to be quick. If I knew, I'm sorry. I would have paused the stream if I knew. Anyways, yes, the food is okay. The food has been secured. What did I miss? Because I don't want to rewind and make you guys all rewatch that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you guys for being so understanding. Yeah, everything's okay. Just didn't know it would take that long. Like, I thought I was stepping away for like a... Maybe since the guy was so dumb. He kind of gave me some attitude too. I don't mind if you rewind. You guys, you gotta go back, rewatch. Really? Are you guys sure? Oh my God, okay. Okay, thank you guys.
Series of events in and around Chicago transformed consumer safety. On the morning of September
Rewind
29,
time.
12-year-old Mary Kellerman told her parents she wasn't feeling well, so they gave her an extra-strength Tylenol capsule. Immediately after, Mary collapsed. She was dead by 10 a.m. That same day, postal worker Adam Yanis came down with a cold. He purchased some extra-strength Tylenol at a supermarket. He took 2 capsules and immediately went into convulsions. He later died in hospital. Doctors suspected that the 27-year-old had a heart attack. After grieving at the hospital, Adam's family came together at his home to comfort his wife and 2 small children. His brother Stanley was so grief-stricken, he came down with a headache. He grabbed some Tylenol from the same bottle Adam had purchased earlier that day. He offered some to his newly wedded wife, Teresa. They took 2 capsules each.
Oh, no.
Soon after, they collapsed. Stanley died that day.
What is in this Tylenol that's like, it takes them out so fast.
Teresa held on for 2 more days before passing away. The unusual deaths caught the attention of firefighters from the affected suburbs of Chicago. Firefighter Richard Keyworth said, "This is a wild stab, but maybe it's Tylenol." Another firefighter who had the same suspicions reached out to a nurse from the local community. Nurse Helen
Oh my God, the Tylenol company was probably freaking out.
Jensen spoke to Adam Yanis' widow and realized all 3 family members had taken Tylenol. She thought it has to be the Tylenol, but she said the medical examiner and police didn't believe her and even laughed it off. In another suburb of
I love that stock footage.
Chicago, Mary Reiner was feeling woozy. She had given birth to her 4th child 2 days earlier. The hospital gave her some Tylenol to help with her postpartum recovery, and she also purchased some from a store. Immediately after taking 2
This
capsules,
is so sad to go out like this from something that you think is harmless.
she felt dizzy and collapsed. Mary died the following day at the same hospital where she had just given birth. Another Mary, Mary McFarland, was taking a dinner break in the shopping center where she worked. The 31-year-old single mom had a migraine. She took 2 Tylenol capsules and minutes later collapsed. She never regained consciousness. That evening, flight attendant Paula Prince landed at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport after a long day. She stopped at a Walgreens on her way home. An ATM surveillance camera captured the 35-year-old purchasing the pills that would kill her. When she failed to show up for work, her sister and a colleague went to her apartment and found her lifeless body. All 7 people died after taking Tylenol. When an investigator with the medical examiner's office first examined the Tylenol bottle from Mary Kellerman's house and the other from the Yanis's, they smelled like bitter almonds. The examiner knew instantly what he was dealing with. The odor was cyanide. He was lucky to catch a whiff of cyanide because only about 60% of the population can detect the bitter almond scent. Out of the 44 remaining capsules in the Yanis's bottle, 4 were found to contain cyanide. Each capsule had between 550 to 610 milligrams of potassium.
Somebody like actually poisoned these bottles of Tylenol? Oh my God, so like they opened each capsule individually and put cyanide in them. Oh my God. But also, like, it's crazy to think there was a time before they put those like tamper-proof seals on medicine. Wow.
Potassium cyanide, nearly 3 times the amount needed to kill someone. Their blood samples tested positive for cyanide poisoning. A Dodged reporter named John Flynn Rooney received a tip and broke the story of the poisonings before an official news conference was called. Stores began pulling pain relievers off the shelves. Chicago police drove through the streets using loudspeakers to order people to flush Tylenol down the toilet.
So far this is only happening, the deaths are in Chicago, right? So at this point it's not like a countrywide thing.
These actions likely saved more lives, as no further deaths occurred. Finding the person responsible, however, would not happen so quickly. The corporation that owned Tylenol, Johnson & Johnson, did not think this was the work of an employee. They believed the capsules were laced with cyanide after leaving the factories, because the poison capsules came from multiple manufacturing plants. Investigators believed someone must have taken the bottles off store shelves, pulled the two casings apart, laced them with poison, and then reattached the halves before returning them to the store. The capsule on the left is regular Tylenol. The capsule on the right contains cyanide. The powder is off-white and grayish in color and lumpier.
Store management pulled all the Tylenol off the shelves on Thursday.
The poisonings were
Oh
the
my
biggest story
goodness.
in the country.
Rating control center. We've been receiving calls about once every 15 seconds.
Tylenol was the most popular pain reliever in America.
Extra strength Tylenol, aspirin free, and you can't buy a more potent pain reliever without a prescription.
Tylenol controlled 37% of the over-the-counter pain reliever market and accounted for $400 million in sales the year before. After the deaths, Tylenol's market share plummeted to 7%. Johnson & Johnson recalled all 31 million bottles of Tylenol capsules. More tainted capsules were found. Fortunately, they had not been sold or consumed. The poisonings changed how over-the-counter drugs.
If you think about it, we are lucky in this day and age with advances in safety and medication commercial. Oh my God, that is so true. It's like you don't even think about that, like about the tamper-proof seals. You don't think like, oh, something happened and that's why they're there now. You just think they were always there. That is so crazy.
Were packaged. At the time, there was no protective sealing on any over-the-counter drug bottles. Johnson & Johnson worked with the FDA to include safety seals, which became the norm for packaged food as well. The company also introduced a new version of its pill, the caplet, which was harder to tamper with than the older capsules. A few years later, Tylenol stopped selling its capsule version for good. Johnson & Johnson spent...
Oh, that's true. You don't really see Tylenol in that form anymore. Like with the powder.
$100 million on the recall and relaunch of Tylenol.
Whoa. Oh my God. But I'm sure, I mean, it paid off because, like, come on, everybody has Tylenol at home. And it's something you always have to keep buying.
And it was worth it. Within a year, Tylenol sales bounced back and once again became America's favorite over-the-counter pain reliever. But for the families of the victims, there was no relief from their pain. Police had not caught the person responsible for the deaths of their loved ones. But they did have someone in mind. About a week after the poisonings, Tylenol's manufacturer, McNeil, a subsidiary of Johnson & Johnson, received a letter in the mail. Inside was a note written in all caps.
Gentlemen, as you can see, it is easy to place cyanide,
Oh my God, that voice tape, but for this is so creepy.
both potassium and sodium, into capsules sitting on store shelves. If you want to stop the killing, then wire $1 million to bank account number 8449597 at Continental Illinois Bank.
Into capsules sitting so this is after? And since the cyanide is inside the gelatin, it's easy to get buyers to swallow the bitter pill. Another beauty is that cyanide operates quickly. It takes so very little. And there will be no time to take countermeasures. Oh my God, this is so scary. If you don't mind the publicity of these little capsules, then do nothing. So far, I have spent less than $50, and it takes me less than 10 minutes per bottle. Oh my God. You want to stop the killing, then wire $1 million. Is that $1 million? To your bank account, blah, 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 at Continent. Oh my God.
Bank, Chicago, Illinois.
Was this really the killer?
I know notes from killers are always so creepy.
The FBI discovered that the bank account mentioned in the note belonged to Frederick Miller McCahey, the heir to the Miller Brewing fortune. However, police didn't believe he wrote the letter. The bank account mentioned in the note had been closed after McCahey shut down his travel agency. The letter was traced to his agency's Pitney Bowes stamp machine. Was the letter writer someone who had access to the agency and held a grudge? Police learned that one of McCahey's former employees, Nancy Richardson, was upset that her final paycheck of
Is this our killer? Nancy Richardson?
$511 had bounced. Nancy's husband, Robert Richardson, had angrily confronted McCahey over the check. The Richardsons had moved out of Chicago just weeks before the poisonings. When police issued a warrant for the couple's arrest, they discovered they had been using fake names. Robert and Nancy Richardson were aliases. Their real names were James and Leanne Lewis. Authorities tracked them down in New York City and arrested James Lewis at the New York Public Library. Lewis's fingerprints matched those on the extortion letter sent to Johnson & Johnson. He said he never intended to collect the cash and was simply trying to embarrass his wife's former boss. Lewis may have been the letter writer, but was he the Tylenol killer? During his sentencing hearing in the extortion case, he sat down with CBS 2.
Did you commit the Tylenol murders?
I did not.
Do you know who did?
I do not know who did, no.
But investigators were not convinced. Some believe Lewis resembled the man caught on surveillance video watching flight attendant Paula Prince purchase the Tylenol capsules. Investigators were fortunate to get this shot because the ATM security camera only captured still photos when someone was using the machine. As investigators dug into James Lewis's background, they learned he had a troubled past and faced a murder charge.
What? This photograph taken 1977 and 1982. Retouched 1982 photograph? Retouched, like they got rid of the beard?
When he was a little boy, his father abandoned him, then his mother. A couple adopted him at the age of 2 and raised him on a farm in Missouri. As a teen, he attacked his adoptive mother with an axe and spent time in a mental institution. He attended the University of Missouri, Kansas City, where he met Leanne. They married and had a daughter. Tony Ann was born with Down syndrome and had other health problems. By all accounts, Lewis doted on her. An FBI report stated he never showed anger about Tony's condition or blamed anyone. The couple opened a tax accounting business in Kansas City called Lewis & Lewis. One of their clients was an elderly man named Raymond West. West lived a simple, retired life after working as a truck driver. He kept the rose bushes in front of his home perfectly pruned and took walks every day. But one day, he disappeared. When a friend went to his home to check on him, he found a note taped to the front door which read, "Ray is out of town until Thursday. For further, call Jim." It was written on Lewis & Lewis stationery. When West's friend returned to the house a few weeks later, he smelled a foul odor emanating from a bedroom.
No way, they put on their own stationery.
And called police. When police arrived, they looked in the attic and, to their horror, found Raymond West's decomposing body. His legs had been severed. Police quickly zoned in on a suspect, James Lewis. West had made out a check to Lewis for $5,000 dated the last day anyone had heard from him. A handwriting expert concluded the check was likely forged. When police searched Lewis's cars, they found dozens of canceled checks belonging to West. They also found a rope matching the rope found around West's body. Lewis denied killing West and said the rope was from the time he helped West rebuild his home after the flood a year before. There was plenty of circumstantial evidence linking Lewis to the crime, and prosecutors charged him with murder. However, the case was dismissed due to a technicality. Lewis should have been read his Miranda rights before questioning when he was arrested and brought to the police station. This is the "you have the right to remain silent."
Oh my God. Someone getting away with murder over something so stupid. How did they not do that?
Warning. But police never read him his rights. A judge ruled that police acted improperly in arresting Lewis and threw out the evidence taken from Lewis's cars and all the statements he made to police. Prosecutors lost some of their best circumstantial evidence. There was one other piece of evidence. A fingerprint was found on the pulley used to hoist West's body into the attic, but police had not been able to match the print to Lewis. 3 years later, the FBI used state-of-the-art equipment to confirm that the fingerprint belonged to Lewis. However, Lewis was never recharged with murder. A reason someone is not charged despite new evidence is that it might not be sufficient to meet the burden of proof required for a conviction. What about the Tylenol murders? Could Lewis have been behind those? Investigators believed he had a motive, and it had to do with his daughter. Lewis's daughter, Tony Ann, had a heart defect that required multiple surgeries. When she was 5, the sutures used to repair the hole in her heart tore apart, and she died. A federal investigation later confirmed that the polypropylene sutures that tore were sold under the brand name Prolene, according to records reviewed by the Chicago Tribune. Proline was produced by Johnson & Johnson, the company that made Tylenol.
He was getting vengeance for his daughter because that company made the suture that failed her basically.
Lewis blamed the drug manufacturer for the death of his little girl, according to a police sergeant quoted in a Memphis newspaper. He served 13 years for extortion for writing the ransom letter to Johnson & Johnson. While in prison, he produced elaborate sketches that showed how cyanide powder could be packed into capsules. But he insisted he was innocent and was simply trying to help investigators solve the crime. He explained to the Chicago Tribune, "I could tell you how Julius Caesar was killed, but that does not mean I was the killer." Lewis wasn't the only suspect. Police investigated around 400 people, including Roger Arnold, who worked in the warehouse of one of the stores that sold the tainted Tylenol. Arnold also worked with the father of one of the victims, Mary Reiner, who had just given birth. The owner of a bar that Arnold frequented grew concerned after a couple of regulars reported that Arnold had been talking about possessing cyanide and working on a project. The bar owner subsequently tipped off police. When Arnold found out, he became furious and ended up shooting a man he mistakenly believed was the bar owner. The man he shot, a father of 3, died. And Arnold was sentenced to 30 years in prison. But there was still no one behind bars for the poisonings. A few weeks after the murders, the Chicago Tribune appealed to the killer to come forward. Journalist Bob Greene focused on the suffering of the parents of young Mary Kellerman. His article read,
"If you are the Tylenol killer, some of this may matter to you, or it may make no difference at all. If you are the Tylenol killer, though, you may be harboring just the vaguest curiosity about the people on the other end of your plan, the people who were unfortunate enough to purchase the bottles you had touched. Mary's mother can't have any more children.
Aww.
Mary was her only baby. You might be interested in
Oh
knowing
my
that
God.
Mary was born 1 month premature, and that as she entered the world, her mother was scared because she wasn't crying. But the doctor smiled and said, 'It's all right, she's only sleeping.' And she was. She was a quiet child, and because the Kellermans knew she would be their only child, she was especially precious to them. If you are the Tylenol killer, you might want to know that Mary's parents always consider themselves to be overly protective. The reason Mary's parents were like that was that they knew something that a 12-year-old girl couldn't know. They knew that the world can at times be a cruel place, and that parents have a duty to protect their child from dangers the child might not even know are there. They thought they knew about every danger that could possibly touch Mary.
But they did not
They didn't know about you.
The
This is
letter
really
mentioned that
sad.
Mary's parents couldn't bear to visit the cemetery where their baby girl is buried. Investigators hoped the letter would compel the killer to visit Mary's grave. They kept surveillance on it for months, but the killer never showed. To this day, no one has been charged
No,
for the
I really thought we're gonna end up finding out who it is.
Tylenol killings. After the poisonings, some communities banned trick-or-treating as a precaution. Copycat crimes later cropped up, but they were never as widespread or fatal as the original poisonings. Nearly 30 years later, James Lewis self-published a book called Poison: The Doctor's Dilemma.
What is with these killers publishing books?
It's a fictional thriller about a mass catastrophe in a Midwestern city where underground water supplies have been poisoned and people are dying. Lewis has denied any link between his book and the Tylenol poisonings. It's important to remember that responsible use of medications and supplements can be vital to maintaining your health and well-being. For more than a year, I've been supplementing with Magnesium Breakthrough, as I used to struggle with falling asleep. Sharp and productive. Video 75% irritability, easy, and I wake up.
It's all just an ad. Oh my God.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we covered the Chicago
They cover what?
Tylenol murders, a case
Oh, BuzzFeed did one of it too. Oh my God, that is so sad. That was such a wild story. Also, yeah, what a strange product placement. After talking about a case where like medication was placed, and then at the end you put an ad for a med sponsor. Yeah, I agree. That was kind of tone deaf. I don't know. I don't know. AB? Oh, are you done? The food is here. Um, yes, it's time to eat. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get going. Normally I would go longer than this, but just because I still have to finish cleaning and my family's gonna be here tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you guys next week. And before we go, let's all go and say hello to Frogan. Oh. Okay, we are rating Frogan, everybody. Let's all go say hello. I hope you guys have a great weekend too. Thank you so much. And don't forget the P.O. box. Oh my God, Stacy, I will not be forgetting that. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Is everyone ready? Okay, let's go. Love you and good night.